Hey yo, Chris here, and thanks for tuning into the Delta, and it's Power Rankings and Voodoo Wheel time, straight ahead of round 16 for the Italian Grand Prix. If you like the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. If you like Formula One, this is the place for you. We go over race reviews, previews, we do the Voodoo Wheel, we talk about Power Rankings, we talk things all about Formula One. In this particular episode of the Power Rankings are pretty boring, but just so happens that also Logan Sargeant has been dismissed from the team. Kind of surprising in the sense of the timing. Is it surprising that he got kicked from Williams? Not so much. I think it was one of those situations where I think James Vowles was like, we'll keep him on the team. He's not going to do anything for us beneficially in the points or standings. But, I mean, we got Carlos Sainz locked in. We have Alex Albon locked in. Let's just finish the season and see what happens. And what happened at Zandvoort? Logan Sargeant bended into the wall. 100% his fault. And I think James Vowles was put in a position where he said, well, at this point in time, not only is he not getting us points, he's costing me money. It costs a lot of money to make these parts and get these parts delivered and research these parts. And he was probably like, you've left me no choice, Logan. I was going to keep you around, but now because of the damages that you're causing financially, I can't keep you around. If I want a guy to not get me points and wreck my car, I'll just pull up some young kid and give him an opportunity. And that's exactly what he did. He pulled up Franco Colapinto. He is an Argentinian in F2. This was his first year in F2, and he is actually in 6th place in the F2 driver standings. I don't know much about Formula 2, so I can't give you a very solid breakdown on how things work down there and how people progress and how they directly translate into Formula 1. I do know that sometimes it works out. I mean, you have Kimi Antonelli, who seems to be a promising prospect for Mercedes. You have Oliver Behrman, who had his opportunity in Saudi Arabia with Ferrari and now is going to be driving for Haas next year. So there is potential growth. Oh yeah, Jack Doohan for Alpine Racing for him next year. So what does this really mean for Williams and Franco? I mean, again, we all know that Logan Sargeant gave it his all. I was surprised on the amount of love that social media gave him. It seems like a lot of people were actually on Team Logan than they were on Team Williams. Alex Albon put out a very nice tweet about Logan Sargeant as well. But yeah, I was just really surprised that the Twitterverse and social media was so kind to Logan Sargeant. A lot of people believe that he wasn't given a fair shake. I don't necessarily agree with that as much as I want to back my fellow American driver. He just wasn't good. He wasn't performing, and when he was performing, he was wrecking. So I don't know what Williams and James Vowles were really supposed to do. But on back to Franco, what are his expectations? And in my opinion, he can't be worse than Logan Sargeant. The worst Franco's going to do is not get Williams points. The best Franco is going to do is have a stellar performance and maybe get a few points for Williams by the end of the year. And what that really means for Franco then is, well, look how good I am. Maybe you don't want, I don't know, maybe Nico Hülkenberg doesn't do well at kick, Zhao Guanyu doesn't do well, maybe he doesn't get a seat. I don't know. There's going to be some sort of scenario in the next year where you say, well, hey, we saw 9 races of Franco Colapinto. Wow, that's going to be a rough one for me. Me and my word pronunciation is... But anyway, if he does well, he will get another opportunity somewhere. Maybe. I mean, I guess you have the whole Liam Lawson thing where, you know, he's just riding in limbo. But at least right now, Franco gets an opportunity. He's probably going to do what he can to make the most of it, and we'll see where it goes from there. Let's say Alex Albon completely screws up and doesn't do well next year. Maybe he can ride side by side with Carlos Sainz. Maybe Carlos Sainz gets another better opportunity somewhere else, and he jumps ship from Williams, and hey, we got to see Franco, and there's his opportunity. So yeah, that's the big news there with Formula One ahead of the race in Monza. So goodbye, Logan. I really was on your side. I hope nothing but the best for you in the future. I heard that he has maybe some ties into IndyCar, and some more prominent racing analysts think that he actually can do well in IndyCar racing. So if that's the route he goes, good luck to Logan. I'll be keeping an eye on his future endeavors and hope nothing but the best for him. Moving on to the power rankings. As I said in the beginning of the video, power rankings are actually really boring. They're not any different than last week, and that is mainly because there wasn't much movement or improvement on any of the teams. Haas had an opportunity to get to do better than Red Bull and skip them in the power rankings. As always, Aston Martin is the prime meridian of mediocre, so they stayed the same. And the only team that really did better than anyone else was Ferrari. Did perform better than Mercedes there in Zandvoort, but it wasn't really enough for me to sit there and be like, well, okay, Mercedes, you lose your spot. Ferrari, you're in. So they stay the same. Now, if Ferrari does perform well in Monza and Mercedes puts up a stinker, we have a real conversation of putting Ferrari in the 3rd place spot and Mercedes back into 4th place. Red Bull seems to be, I don't want to say spinning out of control, but they definitely look human and normal. So Red Bull's just going to stay at 2. They still got Max Verstappen getting in, 2nd place, performing better than Mercedes. Perez seems to be on the up and up, but still very average at best. And then obviously McLaren stays at the #1 spot with that amazing victory by Lando Norris, and obviously Piastri didn't do horrible either, coming in P4. So yeah, the power rankings just not super exciting this week. We'll see how Monza goes. Monza can be a boring race, so maybe teams just get in order and follow suit for the entire race. Hopefully not. Hopefully we get a little bit of excitement. But again, like I said, if Ferrari can impress at the bare minimum better than Mercedes, we can see a movement up for there. Haas still has an opportunity to perform better than RB and find their way back into the power rankings. Red Bull, if they put on a great performance and greatly outperform McLaren, maybe we can discuss flip-flopping them again. Maybe Mercedes outdoes Red Bull and McLaren both, and they find a way to climb the power rankings. But we won't know until Sunday, and that's why we have the race. Super excited for Monza still. So that's it with the power rankings. Pretty boring. We'll move on to my favorite segment, the Voodoo Wheel, which has actually been relatively unexciting as of late. It's almost like it blew its load way in the beginning of the season, just casting Voodoo on every single team it landed on. Landed on Red Bull and Max Verstappen, landed on Ferrari twice. Just, Voodoo, Voodoo, Voodoo. And now it has no more Voodoo. So we will rub the Voodoo. Hopefully you will cast your spell on not Ferrari this week, and we'll give it a good old spin and see if the Voodoo will strike there in Monza. 1, 2, 3. And solid spin. Still going. Oh my God, do not land on Ferrari. Uh-oh. It landed on McLaren. I'm projecting or hoping, fingers crossed, for a Ferrari Monza special. And if Voodoo strikes McLaren, that will go a long way of having a happy Chris come Sunday afternoon. So there we go. McLaren got the Voodoo. Power rankings were boring. Logan Sargeant out. Franco Colapinto in. Got a lot of things to look forward to in this race. We will see you next time with the Fast 5, the 5 things you need to look forward to at the Monza race this weekend. So if you're interested in that, like and subscribe, and you'll get that video as soon as I can get it out, because we are swamped at work. But until next time, take care, stay safe, and have fun out there. Bye, everybody.